What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody is doing well today on this beautiful day. Thank you so much for joining our brother today. Before we actually jump right into this video, shout out to Brooke Seals checking out her video today, man. Original video link will be in that description. Now, I believe there is 20. This is a list of 20 things, 20 shocking things about Australia. You guys know I hit you with the 10 the other day. Today we're back with 20. I was like, I told you it was going to be more and more and more. Watch there be another video like 50 things about Australia that shocked me. Oh my gosh, there's so much to learn, guys. Let's go ahead and check this video out. Shout out to all my supporters that recommended this. Here we go. How y'all know there was 20 in here? Does it say it in the description? Does it say it in the description, or did some of you watch this already? Is it in the description? I'm not even going to bother checking.
It has been so long since I made a video. How do I even do this? So here's the deal. I'm currently sick.
I thought there was timestamps. I was going to say, how do you know there's 20? I could have been wrong just now. I just said 20 and I didn't. I noticed that. I did kind of notice that. AFL, y'all really go crazy for AFL. You know? Rugby is really popular out there in the UK, but like a lot of people say, hey, check out some more AFL. Check out some more AFL. We got the women's and we got the men's. I'm all right, man. Give it to me all time.
Probably have no idea what AFL is, but you probably do know what rugby is. So if you know American football, it's like that, but this is Australian football. So it's the Australian Football League. When I was in Melbourne, I was just walking around the city. Honestly, I was just looking for alcohol. It was in the evening and I was just walking around, and then I saw this like giant crowd of people just go towards the stadium. So I thought there was like a concert going on. So impulsively, I decided to follow them. So I keep following the crowds. It leads me to the stadium, and then there I see what looks like rugby pictures. That is when I typed in my phone, rugby is huge. And I mean huge in Australia, because these crowds were nuts. So I typed that, and then I later was talking to people when I was in Byron Bay, and they told me that they were just shocked that I went to Melbourne and I did not see an AFL game, and they told me that I did Melbourne wrong and I have to make a
Oh, you did it wrong? Oh man, that's my fear. To go travel one of these places and then people be like, you did it wrong. You didn't even go here. You didn't go. But wait, what you mean? You know, that'd make my heart drop. Well, I guess we travel back. Straight up, that's an excuse to go back. AFL game. Okay, so I'm actually glad I'm watching this video. If I go to Melbourne, I should go check out an AFL game. Huh? that actually. Do you guys eat them differently out there? Y'all don't cut them up? I don't even eat. Forgive me. I just hit my desk. I don't know if the mic picked that up. Knowing Yeti, it probably did. Yeah,
this one is an obvious one, but it was a shocking.
You cut them up,
they drive
or?
on the other side of the road compared to America, and they also, their cars are flip-flopped. So when I was coming home from Australia and New Zealand, because New Zealand's the same way, it took a little bit of time for me to stop approaching cars by going to the driver's side in America, because I was so used to that being the passenger side in Australia. And especially when I was in New Zealand, I'll get to this with like a later video when I'm talking about New Zealand, but I was traveling with my friend Michaela and we rented a car. And just even like driving on the other side of the road, it feels really weird at first. Okay, this one's super weird to me. When I was on the plane, I realized that a lot of Australians put milk and sugar in their tea. So on the plane, I got offered milk and sugar with my tea, and I was kind of like,
What's wrong? I thought that was like one of the main ingredients. Help me, please. Yeah, I thought that was one of the main ingredients. Milk, a little bit of sugar. What else? I don't even know how to make coffee. That's crazy. I don't drink coffee. Give me a break. Like, what else do you really need up in there? Though, because doesn't that save you some money on that electricity bill? Like how I got my outlets going right now, I like to unplug stuff before I leave the house, especially stuff that I'm not using, because it tends to keep the electricity running. Yeah, even if it's not plugged into a device. Now, I didn't know that. I had to do a little research on that. If you take it out, then it's cool. That outlet is still running, but it's not really, I don't know how to explain it. It's not really active because there's not really anything in it. Gotta take your stuff out, man, for real. Word up. If I'm leaving this house for a long period of time, I'm unplugging stuff. And not just anything, though. Like, things that you can unplug, like a little phone charger, the box, this, that. Yeah, like my lights and stuff, I unplug it.
You turn it on before or after you plug in your devices. And then you turn it off when you're done with it, so that way it reduces energy.
I like the switches. I really like that.
Which I really liked because
it is like, plus if you got a baby or something, say you don't have any of the protector things in the outlet, and that little baby, I'm saying this because, based off of experience with my hard-headed behind. What if the baby got like a paper clip and he's sitting there playing inside the socket and that thing goes poof, turn the face, turn your hands, everything black, like a metallic, and you see fireballs. Now what? It was smoking everything. Now what? You know what I'm saying? But if that outlet is off, it's not going to do that at all. It's off. That outlet, that socket is off. I don't know about the other ones. If you got them on, that baby's cooked. Your baby shouldn't even be on the ground doing that anyway. Where you at? You should be paying attention. You know what I'm saying? Probably watching the AFL game or something.
It saves that.
what you mean don't get into the ocean? How am I supposed to enjoy myself? You know what I'm saying? How am I supposed to enjoy? I see some people in the oceans in some of these videos. Is it really that bad? Like, do they really come up on you like that in the water? Is it that infested with a bunch of different type of mammals? We call them mammals, right? I was gonna say sea creatures. Is mammals the proper term? Sea mammals? Like this, I don't. I'm not a fan of the ocean, regardless. You know, I'm a pool type of guy. I like the pool. I can see underneath. I know what's underneath. I'm not in nobody's territory where they got full control over me. It's bad enough I gotta deal with these hectic waves. It's bad enough. The current. Now I gotta run from a great white, a stingray. I gotta run from whatever other crazy crap there is in that ocean. I talk about only like 3 to 5% is discovered. What you think? What else you think in that ocean? What else you think? I know my luck is gonna be something new that decides to come up and show itself that day for the first time in life. Nah, I don't want to be the first.
Like, I'm gonna get in the ocean. That's the main thing that drove me to Australia.
I went somewhere and I said something like touch my feet. It was a fish, got out.
Not even kidding. That was the main driving factor. And she was like, first of all, we have jellyfish that are invisible to your eye, like human eyes, and they can kill you. They wrap up.
Get the hell out of here. What do you mean you got a jellyfish that's invisible? The clear ones? You would think you could still see it though, right? Right? Oh my gosh. And I seen a video of the dude, he had like a little poke, whatever it's called, like I forgot the name of it, but he was like poking it, throwing him in the thing, throwing a whole bunch of jellyfish in there, and they were all like clear. Shallow end. I stay in the shallow side anyway, and we still got sharks coming to the shallow. That's the one rule when you travel with Strac. You ain't taking all these damn photos.
A lot of French people and a lot of Chinese people in Australia. Especially in Melbourne. When I was there was like a good amount of like there was like, I think they have like their own little like Chinatown over there. Like how New York does. Because there was a lot of Asian restaurants, a lot of Asian cuisine, and it was delicious. There was one night I went and got dumplings, and I was like, ah. Australians are so friendly. It's not like you're passing an average American that's giving you an RBF. You know, when you pass an Australian, most of the time they're smiling at you. And sometimes...
That's why in public, I gotta just... You know, you gotta smile at people, let them know, I'm not a criminal. I'm a nice person. I have a good spirit, I have a good attitude, you know. Sometimes you gotta smile when you look at people. When they look at you, I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is, man. My dad said I got RBF. That's what's called an RBF face. He said, yeah, you kind of got that look a little bit. He told me this months ago. Oh, my goodness. What is that, like? Do I? Let me know.
They wink at you. And when they do wink, it's not them flirting. Because this happened to me several times when I first got to Melbourne. And I was shook. I was like, does everyone have like the hots for me? Like, what's going on? Oh my gosh. But then I was talking to some Australians and they're like, no, that's just them being friendly. Like, they're just winking at you. All of the big cities have free Wi-Fi, which is such a nice advantage.
Beautiful.
Especially Melbourne, their Wi-Fi was awesome. I remember Cairns. I mean, if you go to some cities, like, let's say for instance, Mission Beach did not have free Wi-Fi. But like, if you're in like the city area, I think Sydney did too, there's free Wi-Fi, and that's really nice when you're a tourist and you don't have like service over there.
It's really good too, because like, you know, I can still upload the videos for you people. Zach, I'm out there vlogging, traveling your beautiful country. Man, I'm uploading daily and I'm streaming. Huh? There's no ifs, ands, and buts. Oh, it's happening.
This one was really shocking to me. The middle of Australia is nothing but just desert. Like, most people live on the coast. I want to say it's 80%, but I could be wrong. There is people that do live in the middle, but it's so hard to like live out there. It's almost like living in like Alaska in the sense that there's not many grocery stores and there's not much to do out there from what I've heard. I never went to the middle.
Is it possible to get, it might be a stupid question. Is it possible to get groceries flown to your crib if you live out there in the outback or if you live in the middle? Huh? We got the hospital support, the hospital air support that come get you. Do we got the same for groceries? That's a foolish question, I know. But it's a whole different country. I'm just trying to think.
But everyone says that the middle of Australia is nothing. Australian coffee is the best coffee I've ever had in my life. Now, I have not been to South America yet, so Colombia, do not come at me. I've also not been to Europe yet, so any Europeans, chill. I've only been to 2 continents, which are North America and Australia, and I've been to 10 countries despite that, but I've even had Costa Rican coffee, and I would debate that Australian coffee is a million times better than Costa Rican. I said what I said, no takebacks. And that's me wearing my Costa Rica shirt.
I'm like, wait, you repping Costa Rica right now?
Sure, I just realized that. For real, I drink coffee almost every single day in Australia, and I couldn't get enough. In fact, Australia literally has such good coffee that Starbucks tried to make an appearance, and Starbucks failed in Australia. It failed. That just tells you how good it is. I mean, I'm not saying like Starbucks.
You know what? A lot of people told me that. They said, hey, Strac. A lot of people did say that. Starbucks failed. I seen a few comments. Just scroll through comments. Starbucks failed. Oh, because I was telling y'all about the Starbucks. They got a lot of E. coli and a lot of the stuff in there. You know, harmful things up in their food, even the drinks that, you know, made me want to think about. Second guess before, you know, putting it into your body, into your system. You know, the body's a temple. We gotta take care of it, or else the body's gonna treat us how we treat it, and we shall not be treated. You know, let me stop.
This is top notch. But
fries is better. Look, at the end of the day, if you want some fast food and you want a nice grilled burger, like I'm talking about actually grilled, go to Burger King. Even the fries are good, and they give you a small portion. They don't overdo it. They're oversaturated with oil and, a lot of salt. Nah, go to Burger King. Now, Burger King is valid. Like, I would invest my money into Burger King for life, into a lot of Burger King franchises around the world, because that is an excellent franchise.
So this food, and I think I was just shocked because in America, we don't have this. All over Australia, you'll find these places called kebab shops, and they're not shish kebabs. They're not what you're thinking. When you go to like Chipotle or Qdoba and get like meat, like you can get like a bowl there, like you get meat and stuff that goes on top. It's that same concept, but it's totally different flavors. And a huge thing is you can get lamb. And in the US, we really don't eat lamb. But kebabs are really good, and I highly recommend trying them. And they're especially known for being a drunk food. So if you're ever plastered and hungry, go get a kebab.
I
really like this
so
aspect
long.
about Australia, and it's the fact that the way that the parents parent is way different than American parents. Australian parents are really laid back, and they just really let their kids be kids.
So no BTA. So no BTA is what I'm hearing. So what about when that kid grows up? Then what? What if he grow up and be a juvenile delinquent? I'm not saying that that's gonna happen to all the kids that get raised. They don't get hit and stuff like that. Or yelled at. There's different ways. Teach your kid a different way. As a matter of fact, because if you do that to your kid will grow up thinking that's the way to treat people when he's pissed. So, as a matter of fact, I'm not gonna lie. I agree with it. No BTA is even needed. I wouldn't even beat my kids if I had kids. I'm keeping it a buck. Strac's not beating the kids. I feel bad and I beat myself up about it. I'm one of those, man. I'm a lover. I am a lover, not a fighter. Only fight if I have to. That's my slogan. I'm so serious. I don't want to do that. I don't want to hit my kid and do all that. Teach you a lesson. A lot of people say, well, if you hit them, they go know not to do it again. Now, if I raise my tone, like a grown man, if I raise my tone and you see my expression in my face and how pissed I am, I bet you he's not going to do it again. Because he's going to be scared. Maybe he can hit me next time. But I'm not. It's all about respect at the same time. You ain't got to hit your kid in order for them to be good and respect you and this and that. You just want to make them fear you. They're going to fear you. That's it. And they still go act a fool at school. Oh, no.
Example of this is when I was in Noosa, I remember seeing this group of kids hopping from rock to rock, and they were hopping all over these rocks. And I kind of like, being an American, I was kind of like looking at the parents, like, are they going to say something? And it's not because the kids are being bad, but it's the fact that the kids could hurt themselves. I know if my siblings were jumping on rocks all over the place.
And I'm sorry to keep pausing. That's the thing about, Americanized children. I want to say, if you don't, I hate to put it this way, because we have some tough kids in the suburbs, of course, with role models around them. You could be raised tough even with a single parent, just living with your mom, depending on your circumstances. Or you could just be a tough person, like, in general. Like, you could just be a tough person as it is. Some people got it like that. Some people do got it like that, but it's like,
something. And it's not because the kids are being bad, but it's the fact that the kids could hurt themselves.
You gotta let them get hurt, man.
I know if my siblings were jumping on rocks all over the place, my mom would definitely speak up and be like, guys, get down, you're gonna hurt yourself.
Nah, go ahead. I'm tired of it. I'm serious. Yeah. Kids are hard-headed. Let them, okay, I understand out in public, maybe acting a fool to that, but, at a playground especially, too many parents I see, stop, you at the playground, let them fall, let him bust his behind, let him fall, let him bust his behind, get a scrape, get a boo-boo, cry it off real quick, and go back and play. I promise, ma'am, he will be fine. He gonna go back and play. He got a little rug, I promise you, he's gonna go back and play. I promise. You gotta let them get hurt a little bit. You gotta toughen them up a little bit. Get your kid ready for life, because as soon as they get older, high school done with, college done with, that's when that's exactly what life be doing to you. That's exactly what life gonna do to you. And they gonna be prepared for it. You know why? Because they got them scrapes and bruises as a kid.
But something I noticed with Australian parents,
can't be sweet all the time.
New Zealand parents, is they did not have that many
The journey, either walking that bike lane, there's definitely a bike lane. Walking the bike lane, you'd be alright.
I've had that happen so many times in Australia, and it's really annoying as a backpacker. Like that, my main mode of transportation is walking. There's also a tax on alcohol for an incentive to not drink it since it's not good.
Hey, you can't walk in the bike lane? I'm not trying to sound ignorant. That's why I had to pause again. I don't want y'all to be thinking I'm out there in Australia doing what I feel like. Like, what else you gonna do? Say it's raining, it's muddy and stuff. You expect me to keep walking on this muddy trail? This wet, muddy trail? Now, if it's dried, I can understand. But look, we out in Australia. I got snakes and stuff. There's repercussions now for each step. I gotta be careful. Can I walk in the bike lane? And if a cyclist come behind me, me being aware, I'll move out the way? Let me know, please. lot of celebrity. Bill Cosby. A lot of people live right up in Queens, New York. 10 minutes from my grandma. Not even 10 minutes from my grandmother's house. Because if you cut through the back roads, you there real quick. You there real quick. Like, literally, around the way, everybody. My dad, used to see him growing up, too. Just walking around, this and that. All around the way. Just normal people, That's it. And nobody is, oh my gosh. It's the new generation. I'm not trying to say that about the new generation, but like the new generation tends to really do that when it comes to streamers or just celebrities in general, because of the fact that it's like a lot of times they just be behind a screen seeing these people. You know what I'm saying? They don't get the opportunity to see them around, so they get excited. But if you're a grown person, if you are a teenager, you are a grown person, I should just say, little kids in general, and younger kids will act like that. If you are older, you should not be acting like that. Strac said it. If you are older, oh my God! You should not be, and you out there looking like a fool next to me. You go up respectfully, introduce yourself, and if you want to, you mind taking if a flick or even that sound corny to me. Can we take a flick? Is alright, cool, I guess. But enjoy the interaction. I'm more about enjoy that interaction. A picture's fine. But people just be worried about the picture. You don't even ask the man how he doing. Can I get a picture? Can I get a picture? Look. Can you look? I'm on FaceTime with my dad. Can you say hi? Come on. Nice. I'll go up, shake your hand. Nice conversation. How was your day? I get to say I had a conversation with the man. He took time out of his day to have a conversation with me. Not take a picture and push me away. That's more meaningful to me.
He doesn't need a security guard to walk around. In the U.S., you could never. Another thing going with that is AFL players, their version of NFL, they're also not a big deal. I knew someone who said that they saw an AFL player on Tinder and they matched and they started talking and whatever. That's normal to do. It's normal to be a good athlete and also be a normal person, or to have a talent and also be a normal person, which I really like that aspect of Australia. And the final thing I have on this list is their sports are very different from ours, in the sense of, I already told you guys about AFL, but there's other games. The other two games I have here is cricket and netball. Oh. So apparently
netball, I want to get into netball. Never seen that. Never even heard of that.
Game